FBB for Marcus is going to look a lot different than, you know, FBB for someone that is less than a year into this, you know, exercise thing. Um, so I think we have to look at, you know, going back to the definition of it. And that's why it's so hard to define, right? Because it's like, how do we know you're doing functional bodybuilding versus this person and they're not doing functional bodybuilding? There's no way to know by just looking at a program, you know, one next to another. And I think that's what a lot of coaches are trying to figure out. They're trying to figure out, how do I design functional bodybuilding? It's like, you can't, it's not like a thing, right? Like, that's like it, depending on who the person is going to define what the program, what's inside of the program. So there's no way to, you know, just look at two programs without context and be like, hey, this is functional bodybuilding. And when we start talking about, you know, functional bodybuilding for that person that is less than a year into training, their program is going to be designed around what, you know, for based on our principles. Let me just ask you that. What do you think that their program is going to be designed around if they're less than 1 year into training?
So like developing motor control and muscle endurance, making, focusing on isolated parts before patterns, good time under tension, staying away from dynamics. What else am I missing? What would you add there?
That's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. So functional bodybuilding for that person is going to look like, you know, the dumbbell bench press, the bicep curl, the lat pull down. Like they're going to be focusing on what you said, right? Like motor control, right? So functional bodybuilding for someone that's 15 plus years into this thing, now that can look really sexy, right? Because they have all these motor control capabilities already checked off. They have their strength endurance capabilities all checked off. And now these people are doing like, you know, chipper grinder pieces with, like you said, like odd objects going over their shoulder while they're on, you know, a ski erg and a bike erg. And, you know, they're doing strict muscle ups and they're doing like that shit looks really sexy. And it's like, but I want to do that. And it's like, it's always a tough conversation when you're like, but you can't do that. You're not capable of doing that. We need to do sets of strict pull-ups, you know, and we need to do dumbbell bench press and we need to do split squats and we need, you know what I mean? It's like we need to do that stuff. And we need to do that for years and years and years before you can do the big grinder pieces. And those people aren't interested in that. And they're just like, well, fuck you. I'm just going to go and do those grinder pieces and post about it and say how much fun I'm having doing FBB. And then you and I will probably look at that and be like, ah, man, those people probably shouldn't be doing that. But that's not a hit to, you know, what they want to do and they want to have fun in their program, or, you know, what FBB is and or isn't. It's just like we have to look at what this thing is on the surface. And on the surface, it's, should you be doing something versus not? And do you have really good intentions behind what you're doing or not? And are you capable of doing what you're doing or not? And if it's or not, if the answer is an or not on any of those, it's like, yeah, just don't do that. Take a step back.